Shannon Sharpe and Gilbertarenas weigh in on Charles Barkley's comments regarding Kevin Durant's leadership. Tune in.
On all his stops, KD responded. Let's take a listen to what he said.
Why do you think people in the media think you're not a good leader or that you're not a leader?
I'm not as charismatic as my peers. I don't have a personality that's like fit for TV like my peers. And a lot of those stories of what we talk about don't get spoken about in the media. And that's just really what it is. It's like you got to sell what you're doing as well. And I haven't sold it enough, and I feel like I don't feel like I need to. I don't feel like I want people to call me a leader, but I also don't want people to say I'm not one either. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't see what goes on behind the scenes or what I talk about or my intentions or the relationships that I built with my teammates and support staff. But when guys like that say that, I just got to chalk it up to them just not being aware of what goes on.
Okay, Gil, I know you've been a very, very ardent supporter of Kevin Durant and his moves, going from OKC to Golden State to Brooklyn, then requesting a trade from Brooklyn, ended up with the Phoenix Suns. So what were your thoughts on what Charles Barkley said and then Kevin Durant's retort to what Barkley said?
I was confused, with Barkley's comments because, Barkley calling someone a follower with his background. And it's like sometimes the older generation forgets who they were when they played. So they're calling players something that they were themselves, right? Charles Barkley's resume didn't scream out leadership either, right? You had Moses Malone over there when you went to the
Sixers.
Western the East
He was with the Sixers, Dr. J. and Mo.
Yeah, so you wasn't leading that team, right? You wasn't leading the team. When you did lead the team, y'all lost the first round, didn't show up for 2 years. Then you wanted out of there, right? You went to the Phoenix Suns, who won 50-something games every year before you got there, right? So they already had leadership. Your first year there, you go to the finals, you win your MVP because of their record, because they were a good team. After that, what did you do when you was there? You went to the finals, then what? First round, second round, first round. Then you hopped your ass over to Houston, following Drexler, trying for the second time, because that's where he wanted to go when he wanted to leave Philly. He wanted to go to Portland, who went to the finals that year, right? So you didn't scream leadership either for you to be calling someone this. You followed. You were a follower. You never stood your ground to lead something. So to call somebody a non-leader when you're not in the locker room, see, I can say that from your resume, and you might look at me and say, that's unfair. Yeah, the same thing everybody else has said. When we're in that locker room, you don't know who's leading what. All we see is from the court, right? On your football field, right? They can say what Elway led, but there's probably vocal leaders inside the locker room, and that's how a team is made. Right, we don't know who's leading, just because your name is on
you got the bigger name doesn't necessarily make you a leader.
Yeah, yes. So sometimes I get disappointed in some of the star players when they call people prima donnas and stuff like that. It's like you were too, right? You were too. So I get a little frustrated when some of the older guys do that.
But here's look. Let's take what Barkley said aside. So will help me understand this. So what am I supposed to do when Kevin Durant went to Golden State and said, I'm not a leader. Let Clay, Steph, and Draymond lead. I'm here to hoop. He just said in that very soundbite, I'm not a leader, but I don't want people to say that I'm not a leader.
Okay, so it's like Jokic, right? When I remember they asked him a question, what did you tell the team, when y'all got back in the locker room? He said nothing. Right. They asked him again, what'd you say? I didn't say anything to him. Right. When you're coming from one team to another, you're giving them the respect of Curry's the leader. Whoever the leaders are, they're the leaders. I'm just here as a player. I'm not coming here stepping on nobody's toes. Same thing that happened in Miami when LeBron and Bosh came. It's like Dwayne Wade is the leader. Like you're trying to delegate the responsibilities so there's no fringing, right? No matter what Kevin Durant, what he was doing on the floor, you can see that he was demanding things. That's why him and Draymond was beefing, because he is standing tall, doing what he does. But he is a quiet dude. He is a quiet dude, but I don't want to be the leader, but I don't want you to say I'm not a leader because you don't know what I'm doing. You don't know that I show up early, I leave late, right? I prep talk, I do this, I train players, I work out with players, I wake, we don't know everything he does. So he's like, well, I am a leader, but I might not be a leader, right? It's the confliction of, just the player's personality.
I look at
itself.
it like if Gilbert Arenas says, man, you know what? I'm a liar. I mean, I lie, but don't call me a liar.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I supposed to do with that? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Gilbert Arenas tell me out of his own mouth, he's a liar.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I say, well, Gil lies, man, I just don't, I lie, Shannon. Yeah, of course, Unc, I lie. But I don't want you to say that I lie. And I think that's the confusing part, what people are saying, are having with Kevin Durant, because we've heard him say on numerous occasions that I'm not a leader. And then when people say, well, Kevin Durant's not a leader, he's a follower, he's like, yeah, I'm not a leader, but I don't want people to say that I'm not a leader. I don't believe leadership has this. Larry Bird wasn't charismatic. Larry Bird was basically the total opposite of Magic Johnson. Larry Bird, I mean, first of all, he had a little thin lip, so you couldn't tell if he was smiling or not. But Magic, you saw all 32 of Magic teeth